Council post: How to evolve your company into a self-learning organization. In a quickly changing environment, what you know is less important than how fast and reliably you can learn. One of the only ways to future-proof a business today is to become a self-learning organization where everyone surfaces and solves problems proactively. It means evolving everything you do, from meeting structure, organization chart, and culture to key performance indicators (KPIs), to gear it toward asking questions and highlighting problems without creating a finger-pointing culture. 1 year in, my company shows the results of this approach. Growth is quickly accelerating, the company generates substantial positive EBITDA, customer satisfaction went from 78% to 93%, and infrastructure costs decreased by 70%. And this is just the beginning. Here's how you can adopt the same model as a CEO. Key steps on the journey. It is hard to pinpoint exactly what helped our journey the most. But it probably started with a big initial push to reset expectations and refocus the company on one customer type, one market, one product, and one set of company-wide metrics. I recommend implementing these metrics so that everyone has a clear yardstick to assess what they work on and their success working on it. We executed our reset via multiple company-wide updates and long workshops with managers. The outcome for us was a plan that felt like a team plan, not just a CEO plan. The second step is to make problems and progress visible in a compelling way. One of the beliefs that underpins self-learning organizations is that good people who see a problem will spontaneously try to solve it. Start discussing fundamental issues, like employee attrition or EBITDA, for instance, openly at company meetings, and have Q&A sessions where anyone can voice their concerns. As a CEO, you can be honest about success, clear on failure, and candid about what you still have to figure out. We took the same approach for the management meeting, which we turned into a problems meeting. Of course, mention what goes well and celebrate successes, but carve out a substantial part of your time to tackle what we call blockers. Blockers are there to be unblocked by the team, not a fact of life you have to live with. You can also make problems and successes visible for everyone by setting up team discussion whiteboards, filled weekly by most teams with what's going well and what they struggle with, displaying company-wide KPIs in real time on screens, and displaying the qualitative and quantitative results of ongoing experiments on big boards, all right in the middle of an open space. Last but not least, we tried to formalize self-learning in our culture. At a time where we were eliminating waste ruthlessly, we made a point of ring-fencing anything that promoted learning. To do this yourself, you can keep and promote personal learning and development budgets and train people on various tools to make it easier for everyone to learn. For instance, try Kaizen and the Plan Do Check Act framework (PDCA), both ideas from The Lean Manager by Michael and Freddie Bale, or read The 4 Disciplines of Execution by Chris McChesney, Jim Hewling, and Sean Covey. My experience taught me that most employees need structure to make the best of this approach, so managers should work with their team members to create formal yearly learning goals and quarterly actions, for instance. Not all a walk in the park. While we made a huge amount of progress over the last year, it is clear that some things didn't work as well as I hoped. For instance, narrowing our focus meant that many features and data sets became suddenly useless but still consumed resources, and decommissioning them took a lot of time. It also takes a long time to properly learn the skills you need. The first team we radically changed was the product team, but it took a year to go from reading the concepts to having a team that is comfortable producing validated learning at a regular cadence. To be clear, it is not a mindset issue or a talent issue. It is just that some of the things your team will be trying to learn can be hard to interpret and implement. The way the overall team reacted was also different from what I expected. Moving from a top-down organization to a self-learning organization changes the definition of individual performance. In a self-learning organization, everyone is expected to produce knowledge and have a direct, measurable impact. The expectations on everyone increase at the same time that the direction becomes fuzzier. As I like to say, don't ask me what to do. Ask yourself where you can find the data you need to improve the metric you own. Some people at my company struggled and ended up leaving. Initially, I really wanted to bring everyone on the journey, but 1 year in, I realized that it wasn't possible. Some people may not really be interested in doing things differently, some won't have the skills to adapt to their new role, and some may feel that the reason they joined the company in the first place no longer exists. Try to help and support people in these situations, but know that it often fails, at which point the only path left may be to part ways on as good of terms as possible. There are relatively few such cases, though, and the new approach may reveal a much larger group of new leaders at your organization who drive what you do without necessarily being leaders in terms of management responsibility. You should also invest as much as you can in those who thrive. For example, in 2018, our team earned more than 115% of their typical bonus amount, and we promoted or raised more than 25% of the team. Building a self-learning organization is primarily about building people, and just like with all things people-related, expect it to take time and go in unexpected ways. But in our case, that is what we signed up for and what makes the journey both dynamic and enjoyable. Forbes Business Development Council is an invitation-only community for sales and biz dev executives. Do I qualify?